making the run around with Ella. Look at this pace of Ella. Got away and beautifully back to Eric Grove. Grove has only got Eddinghausen to beat. Running away from him, links up with Cronin, and Cronin puts the ball out. The perimeter scrum went Murray. Cronin. One-handed pass from Cronin.
Goes to the corner, touched by Canterbury. It's gone to Taylor. This could be a sensational try. Cronin's got two to choose from, goes himself, and that is an absolutely magnificent rugby league try.
Well, working on the fan, it is a great job. The places we come to in the fold-out chair, Mick Cronin.
Andrew, thank you.
Thank you for having us at your place, the Gerringong Hotel, a pub which we can start off by saying, has it been in the family 100 years or thereabouts?
Thereabouts, give or take a month or two, but no, 120 years.
Wow. Now, I've got a whole lot of random questions to ask you. I mean, I could go through your career step by step, but I'm going to throw a few out there questions to you first of all.
Yeah, don't bore the people.
One of the unpredictable, one of the great toe pokers of all time. Did you ever kick a football around the corner?
Look, I probably have had a history of bad hips. It wasn't conducive to kicking around the corner, so right. I probably have tried it, but with no success.
Did you ever live in Sydney? In all the time, like you joined Parramatta when you're 25, did you make the big step to live up in Sydney at any time during your career?
I can honestly say never. I would never spend 2 nights in a row in Sydney when I was playing there, so I'd say that's a no.
All right, we are in Origin time, or thereabouts. I want to end the myth once and for all that Arthur Beetson, that very first game, 1980, there are people who swear blind. Once Artie belted Mick Cronin, you know, we knew it was game on, we knew it was serious. I have watched that game back a million times. I can't find Arthur Beetson belting you until about the 77th minute. True or false?
Well, look, I don't even know whether he belted me then, but yeah, it's one of the great in this. So it's a story they keep on telling, but I think that sort of tackle used to happen every week.
Yes.
About 25 times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I don't hold that against Arthur.
Well, Arthur worked his way through the whole team. I know he gave the young prop Gary Hembley from South, he gave him a going over, but I think there's a few minutes to go on the match and he races into a tackle where you're involved in a swinging arm. Doesn't hit you in the head. I mean, it would have knocked it.
My sisters can beat me, so I definitely wasn't going to be taking on Arthur.
Well, we find ourselves in Gerringong. I mean, this is where it all started. This is where you became a star. I don't think our younger viewers could sort of understand that you could play for state and country while playing bush footy, which is exactly what you did.
Well, it used to happen more often in those days. You'd start off, you'd play for your group, then your division, then go to country and play country city, which was always a great thing for the country footballers. And if you happen to go all right or happen to be noticed, you then could get picked for New South Wales. But things have changed since then. I actually think the last bloke to do it might have been Slippery Morris, actually, from Dapto. But yeah, in those days it could happen, but it doesn't happen today. Everything's changed today.
Having established that you lived in Gerringong the whole time, never stayed more than one night in a row, how many Ks do you reckon you did? The commute to and fro, training, matches, back and forth and back and forth?
Gotta be honest, that was one thing that never worried me. I'll let someone else work that out, yeah. Once I decided a year at a time to do it, well, that was just it, you know, sort of 4 times a week. Except one year under Johnny Pearce, it was 5 times a week, so. But yeah, no, it was only every year at a time, so.
Premiership years, 81, 82, 83, 86. Now, I've spoken to former Parramatta greats before and I've pushed them to try and separate one from the other, and they do go back to the first, but they didn't have, apart from Pricey, the fairy tale farewell like you got in 86. Can you separate the premierships? Is one a better feeling than the other?
Look, this is as honest as I can be. No matter where I played, and even coach in the last few years, premierships is what it's always been about, whether playing for Gerringong, Parramatta or coaching. So I suppose you look at the first because you saw what it did for a lot of people in Parramatta and the supporters, how they enjoyed it. Yeah. So you probably say the first, and that from a personal point of view, the last one, look, I didn't play great the last one. I was buggered the last year I played, but they're all special. Yeah, premiership, I don't think they're all special. So to put one above the others, but probably because of the history of Parramatta and their supporters and how much it meant to them, you'd probably throw in the first one at Parramatta.
You were one of the great players. I mean, it's a dream backline in particular. It was a great side. On those on days for Parramatta, big scores, record points hauls that you're a part of. What was it like being part of that backline?
Oh, look, you know, when they talk about the great players, like Sterling, you get a mention as the best half. You'll get Kenny, best 5'8". Growth, I think, is the best winger. I mean, I know they're all more special now, but they're all trained and the game's different. But he was, but all that, those three, you got Steve Allen never gets enough credit because he played in the back line with those other players. But people forget he never played for 18 months after a very severe knee injury and come back. So, you know, and they're all, you know, the other wingers they probably had 3 or 4 different wingers. I don't know. They said it was good playing outside. I don't know whether we wore them out or they just got knocked about. But, and, you know, like Paul Taylor, he was...
oh, amazing,
see,
yeah.
He wasn't your classical fullback, but the people who played with him appreciated what he did. So, you know, that was the back line that... Yeah, you're sort of very fortunate. And look, from my point of view, they kept me in the game longer, you know. They're all, you know, they were enjoyable to play with. They were fun to be around, and as I said, when, you know, at the end of my career, they kept me in the game longer than maybe I was entitled to play.
The general questions when I'm speaking with someone so great, because people who played alongside you will talk about you in grand terms, the toughest player you played with, Mick, in all your time.
Oh, look, you talk...
Because toughness is hard to define.
It is, you know, there's different players, but look, see, Kenny was tough in a way, but in a low-key sort of way. I've seen him play with him, and there was a lot of ways like that, but for week in, week out, I've always said Ray Price probably never gets the credit for what he did at Parramatta over 11 years. I think they missed the semis 1 year. That was probably a year where he was injured towards the end of the year.
Wow.
And they made 7 grand finals, you know, so it's hard, you know, week in, week out. He just used to turn up. I always used to tell him he was a narc, but look, he was a tough player. But there's plenty of them, don't get me wrong.
The premierships aside, week to week, the enjoyment you got out of rugby league. Can you imagine your life without rugby league? The pub's part of your life. The pub.
Oh,
you were running this pub early, like straight out of school.
Well, I come here straight out of school. But look, this is a rugby league town. You know, we're sort of rugby league family. My father has always loved it. You know, and he was my first coach actually.
Is there a day, the fact that you're at the pub, or is there a day that passes by where someone doesn't talk rugby league with you, Mick?
Oh, probably not too many, no. It's a sort of, as I said, this is a rugby league town, and look, and I love rugby league, you know, and the thing about it today, it does throw up plenty of news and plenty of controversies and plenty, you know. But no, you know, I've got to be honest, there's some things in the game I'd change if I could, but I love the game. That
might be part 2 of the interview. We'll have to come back next week and do that.
Yeah, right, no, yeah. Might have to be 2 and 3 to cover that part.
I should announce, I reckon this might be your 500,000th interview you've done. Around the time all those news grabs, interviews, dressing rooms, tours, Origin as a coach. Is there something someone hasn't asked that we need to know about Mick Cronin that hasn't been uncovered?
Oh, I don't...
Anything you can think of?
Well, I think if they haven't caught on by now, it should be something that I don't enjoy doing them. but look, no, they've asked most of the questions. Anyway, most of the ones I've been prepared to answer anyway.
Well, Mick Cronin, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on The Fan. Thanks for having us in this beautiful pub. It is the Gerringong Hotel on Belinda Street.
Belinda Street, yes.
Belinda Street,
yes.
You get a good feed.
Good feed, yeah.
You'll always get company. You can always have a chat about footy. Mick Cronin's happy for anyone to come up and shake your hand.
Never a problem.
Well, I'll shake your hand right now. Mick Cronin on The Fan, the great one.